We'll discuss the subject of a spirit of entrepreneurship, lighthouse in the time of crisis. We are going to have a panel discussion, and through the discussion, first-generation entrepreneurs will share their stories about how they scaled up their business while proactively responding to changes in the global markets. I believe many of you here who are interested in startup and starting a new business will be able to get positive influence and inspirations from the speakers. So after the panel discussion, if you have any questions, there is a Q&A session prepared for you. So please be with us until the very end.
그리고 오늘은
As today is a special session, we have a special moderator. So you have a fruit juice on the table in front of you, and that is sponsored by Better Monday Korea. And we have the CEO of Better Monday Korea, who is Do Kyung-baek. So I would like to introduce you CEO Do Kyung-baek first. CEO Do Kyung-baek established Better Monday Korea here in Busan in 2016. The company provides various spaces, products, and services, and now has 180 franchises across Korea. CEO Do Kyung-baek is a member of Korea Startup Forum. And CEO Do runs Better Monday Club and Be Better Eco-Friendly Commerce business. Likewise, he has been exploring various business models, providing new experiences to Korean office workers. It was the introduction about CEO Do. So let us invite Mr. Do with a big round of applause.
도경백 대표님 무대로 모시겠습니다.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Do Kyung-baek, the CEO of Better Monday. It is very honored and very happy. And first, I will introduce today's speakers. First, President of Panacea, Soo-taek Lee. As an entrepreneur, President Lee founded Bona Precision Engineering in 1989 under the motto of challenging new creation. And the company changed its name to Panacea in 2007. Since its inception, Panacea has never lost focus on developing eco-friendly technologies until now and has introduced the ballistic water treatment system and the sulfur oxide reduction system. Thanks to his significant contributions in localizing shipbuilding materials for the past 3 decades, President Lee was awarded with the 16th Marine Grand Prize in Korea. He is also serving as a director of Busan National Science Museum and chairs Consortium of Hyundai Heavy Industry Suppliers. Please give him a big round of applause. Let us invite the president of Panacea, Soo-taek Lee. Please give him a big round of applause again. Mr. Lee Soo-taek Lee, please come on the stage. Our next presenter is the CEO of the Kumyang Innovation, DO. He graduated Gyeongbuk National University and he founded DO in 1988 after working at another company and launched a dental implement business since 2002. With excellent technology and fast growth, DO was chosen as World Class 300. And DO's products were globally renowned for its excellence and are exported to around 70 nations worldwide. And President Kim was also chosen as a 2021 Innovation Leader in the implant industry for his contribution to the development of Korean medical device industries. Please invite the next speaker, President Kim Jin-chul of DO. And the last speaker of today's forum, the CEO of Kumyang Innovation, Seo Kyung-jang. CEO Jang earned his degrees at the Korea University, Seoul National University, and the Denver University. And Mr. Jang passed his highest civil service in 1989 and headed the various departments, bureaus, and divisions at the Ministry of Government, Legislation, Information and Communications, Korean Communications Commission, Embassy of the Republic of Korea in China, and the Ministry of ICT. From December 2019 to March 2021, Mr. Jang served as a Vice Minister of the ICT, and since April 2021, he is heading Kumyang Innovation as a CEO and then is concentrating on commercializing hydrogen fuel cell and developing propelled vessels. And Mr. Jang is also lecturing as a special appointed professor of computer engineering at Seoul National University, and his other roles encompasses private and public sectors as well. Please invite the last speaker of today, CEO of Kumyang Innovation, Seok Jang. Please give him a big round of applause. Now let us begin today's event. So for today's forum, I would like to express my thanks to all the speakers having some time for today. So this is the first question, but before I start today's first question, I want to speak about myself. I launched my own business and I want to share, I shared my vision to newly started CEOs. And I also needed some advices and supports. And I thought that this kind of opportunity is very precious. And I was very honored to be a moderator for today. So this is the first question for today. So for the Fly Asia event, I want to know what do you think about this Fly Asia 2022. We have many opportunities to networking among entrepreneurs. So, but what about the past experiences? I thought that when you started your own business, there were little chance to share and vision of your own. So I want to know what you think about today's event.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you all. I would like to extend my gratitude for being able to speak to you today and share my experience. And I would like to give you a positive influence. Busan is a city that is good to work in. To take a leap forward, we are making a lot of efforts. I think Fly Asia 2022 is a very meaningful event because I looked through the promotional brochure and the content was really good. And nowadays, local cities has decreasing population and low fertility and small economic volume. So in order to address these challenges, we need to make Busan as a good place to start a business. And I think Fly Asia 2022 will contribute to making Busan into a startup hub in Asia. So that's my expectation for this event. And I think this event is really, really meaningful. Thank you.
또 우리 많은 분들이
And many of you know about the company DO. And I would like to ask to you, what do you think about today's event? I have been running my own business for about 40 years. I think I'm still on my way, so my business is not a complete one. If you ask this question, whether I would like to run a business or whether I would like to become an employee as part of an organization, I still opt for running my own business with 100% confidence. So starting from when I was little, I really dreamed of running my own business. And coming to today's forum, and before the beginning of this session, I had the chance to be introduced to you. It made me think about a lot of things that happened in my past. In early days of my business, I got a venture capital investment, and after several years, my company went public, and the income and profit of my company grew by 20 to 30 fold and could pay back that investment. So I hope that there will be many more events just like Fly Asia, so that many startups could earn their investments and create a virtual cycle of investments here. And I received a preliminary questionnaire for the panel discussion, and I saw the question whether I am willing to invest in Busan company. Which company and what kind of investment, we need that information. So whether it be Technopark or Busan City Municipal Government, I hope that a new institution or organization will create a brochure and statistics promoting Busan companies so that they can get support and assistance in terms of financing. So I hope that we could publish a brochure or create a website for that. I hope that Fly Asia event could be regularized and have this every year. Thank you. We have many more questions left, and while asking the first question, I got all the answers I wanted to listen. So my company has incorporated 4 years ago, and I think I feel that it's only a beginning. And Mr. Tong Man Kim mentioned that he is still on his way and his company is not a complete one, and I could see that my company has a long way to go. And I would like to hear from CEO of Kumyang Innovation. I'm CEO Jang Seok-young. While coming to this forum, comparing to the two speakers next to me, I'm still learning. I have worked as a public official for a long time, and I provided support for startups as a government official of the central government. So I would like to share my point of view from that aspect. And I look around the Fly Asia event, and as you can see, many startup entrepreneurs, it's a lonely way, and there are a lot of challenges ahead. So I hope that Fly Asia, and through the pitching events, we are having the pitching event next door, so we are having a mentoring session, and I hope that many of you could have a networking experience during this event. I could see that Busan City is actively supporting this event. I hope that Fly Asia could continue, not a one-off event, so that Busan startup entrepreneurs could cooperate among themselves and grow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So from the first question, three panelists gave us a good insights, and I expect a lot for the next questions. And most of the questions for today made by myself, and with the opinions from other entrepreneurs and CEOs who started their business, and I heard what is their concerns and what they wanted to know. So my second question is, when you run the business, talent is everything. Seems to be the mantra in the corporates these days. So do you agree? So do you also agree on this opinion? And over the 40 years of experience, you have hired a lot of people and you have worked with so many people. So what do you see the most when you meet the people? So many of CEOs in startup businesses, I want to share my insights with you. And I think that the business, like we said, is the stakeholders. The stakeholders have clients and its employees and the shareholders. And those three pillars consist of people. That's why people matters. So I think the human first is the main mantra for the business. So when the startup open its business and only 29% of the companies will survive after 5 years. And in case of Silicon Valley, only 1 or 2%, not only 0.8% succeed after they started its own business. So what is the main reason of failure? That is people. Then what matters most in people? Working with people, that is a communication. So among capitals, we have a human resource. That is, a human resource is the most valuable assets that we should have. Of course, we need some capital too, because we need to set up some money for research or development. But among of that, securing human resources is the most important thing for success. And the next, we analyze our customers all the time. So company compete, and we also conducted asset analysis, customer analysis. And all those analyses focused on the people behaviors. So based on these ideas, so when you start your own business, I hope you do not hire your very close people or friends. It's not a good idea to run the business in a long run. So rather than that, you need to conduct some needs analysis in the field. So thus the point of the human resources is to empowerment of human resources. So for Panacea, we have grown into the 1,000 companies in Korea. So to become that, we have experienced many struggles, but we have our own mantra that is focusing on our own employees, training, and to make them into more talented workers, to develop more technologies. So for startups, I think you need to take a long and short-term business plan. So when you first start your own business, you need to secure human resources, and you need to conduct a proper communication and share visions with them. I think that is very important ideas. Then why the human resources are so important? And I think each of employee should be the leader. If only CEO is the only leader in the company, that all the membership or relationship and loyalty will be degraded. So every employee should be the leader of their own job. And those employees could be the VIP of our company. Then to make them a leader, we need to share the vision of the company. And to help them, we need to help to increase their insight by providing knowledges and sharing informations. If only CEO knows the information or knowledges on his own, it's not enough to help those employees to have some ownership of the company. And CEO also need to share its own philosophy of business. We, Panacea, has a vision to develop eco-friendly technology. That is the big vision and the philosophy of our company. And based on this philosophy, we have gathered human resources and we shared and we help them understand our these big visions. That's why we get some power from human resources properly. Thank you very much for your insights. So we have some limited time only. We have 1 hour. But those answers are quite long. I really like it, but we have some limited time. I'm really sorry, but I know it is required to put some mask, a facial mask, but we have some online viewers. So could you take off your facial mask? Thank you. It's better to listen to, right? Yes, thank you. And thank you very much for your answer. And what do you think about talent is everything? When I run the business, I think people matter. People is everything, and people, our employee and human resources are so important. So how we compose our team and how we control our employee will decide the success of the company. When I hire or interview our employees, I have several things to pay attention to. First is one's personality, whether the person has a good personality or not. And second, I want to know whether the person has a passion or not. And last, I want to see whether the person has a good experience and talent. And based on those three data, I decide whether the person will be hired or not. But at the earlier stage, based on my experience, we need to have some team members to start the business together, because when we first started the business, we have experienced some challenges that we couldn't handle by ourselves. In those cases, maybe friends or siblings could be a good help to support the business at an earlier stage. But later, the company should focus on the organization itself. That's the insight that I have about the human resources. Thank you for your answer. And the other two panelists already gave us a really good answers. I think the communication matters a lot. Of course, the person should have their own personalities and skill that required. And if the person has their own skills, then it is required for them to have some skills to communication and share their visions with other team members. And as a startup, our company has focused on hydrogen fuel cell, and it was really hard to find a specialist on this field. So I have looked for the specialists and professionals on this field. So thank you very much for your answers. So the point of your answers is that the talent is matter. Talent is everything. So I totally agree with you. The communication is the point, and we have to think about why this communication is so important.
Let's move on to the third question, which is related to the second question. I could get a hint from your answer, so let's move on to the third one. We are running our business in Busan, and there are many challenges in this city. So there are pros and cons about doing business in Busan. Many people say that Fly Asia event is prepared to make Busan into a city for entrepreneurs. So what's your take on running your business in Busan? My hometown is Ulsan, which is very close to Busan. I was born and raised there. Many people say that you need to survive for 3 years. Three things. You need to have three things, which is the same hometown, the same school, graduated school, and one, which is human connection. I would like to focus on the third aspect, which is network, your network. So the strength of Busan is that if you are born and raised here or somewhere near here, you can find someone you know who live in Busan or in this area. So you don't have to go to other cities to run your business, so you need to opt for Busan. And second, so I think accumulating career here in Busan is a good thing. So, and you need financial support, and there's another thing which is called social support, social capital. So when you run a startup, you get ideas, business ideas from your first career and second career, and then start to run your own business. So while working in Busan, you accumulate a lot of social capital, which is people connection, such as seniors or someone you know. And I think Busan is as it is a hub city, you can see many resources coming in, and the city is very enthusiastic and dynamic. There is no discrimination in this city, so I think it is a good place to work and good place to start a business. And Busan is famous for a logistics city, and there is a lot of platform and businesses and good environment. We have a good environment for platform businesses as well. So if you utilize big data and Bitcoin, there are a lot of departments in the universities that major in Bitcoin and other high technology. So I think we have a good resources here. So you need to utilize good human resources here in Busan. So I think Busan is good for that. And again, I think Busan is a very global city. We are holding a lot of international events, conferences, and we have a global business models here. So if you want to go global and if you look for a global business models, we have a port which facilitate logistics flow. I think that's the good side. Thank you. And Mr. Kim? I think Busan has good side and bad side at the same time. If you shoot for Korean market, Seoul has a good environment for you. But if you think about exporting or overseas businesses, then Seoul and Busan has no big difference, I think. My company, before the pandemic, around 1,000 customers visited us. Every time they come to Korea and my company, they visited Haeundae Beach. They saw the Gwangan Bridge, and they were very fascinated about the natural scenery of Busan, and everyone mentioned that Busan is better than Seoul. My foreign customers always said that. But in case of our company, our market size is 3 for Korea and 7 for overseas, so that's why we are residing in Busan. About recruiting, I think Seoul has an advantage in terms of recruitment, but at the same time, if you utilize a human network or your school alumni here in Busan, it'll work for you. So whether to choose Busan or Seoul to start your business, you need to think about your business structure. So if you go to Seoul for domestic businesses, the scale of your business can start big. But if you think about global businesses, you can do business here rather than going to Seoul. That's my personal opinion. Thank you. Mr. Tang. From another perspective, I served a lot of years in the government offices. So from the public sector point of view, I saw Busan City policies for supporting startup. There is a department under a Director General of Busan Municipal Government. There is a sector that is focused on startups, and there are 8 other departments that support startup. If you utilize this public support, I think when you start your own businesses, you will be able to get financial investments or so. These things are really difficult when you start a business, but the startup public policy support policies are given here in Busan. So 2 speakers mentioned about the market size and so on. So it depends on the business, what business you shoot for. In case of platform businesses and platform startups, you can start your business everywhere, whether it be near to universities, Seoul, Busan, or some other countries. Thank you for your good answer. Please give them a big round of applause.
So startup is a hot issue. So whether stay in Busan or move to Seoul. And this is the hot topic for entrepreneurs. And finding a good talent, like moving to Seoul, would be a good idea. So based on your answers, I figured out the pros and cons having business in Busan. And I have considered whether I put more pay attention to my own business in Busan or in Seoul. So, and Mr. Kim answered like this, whether he wanted to invest, but he couldn't find which place or where he can invest. That means that you will invest if you find any good entrepreneurs in Busan. Yeah, if I have chance, I will. How about Mr. Lee and Mr. Zhang? If you find a good startup business in Busan, are you willing to invest in those businesses? Like Angel, I am when I leader of the inner bees, I run the angel bees. Of course, I am willing to invest in new businesses if I find a good one, but let's change our insight. Let's see the life cycle. Get an investment and start a business, get an investment, the development, and we need some exit strategy as well. So it's not desirable to say the investors to stay with us until the end of the business. It is a really long period of time. So to fertilize the angel investment, we need to change some cultures surrounding those investment. We need to change our concepts on the returns after investment. And for the entrepreneurs, I think you shouldn't be so greedy when you get some investment. A little amount of investment could be desirable to get an proper investment. When I have an angel club for investment, there was a lot of mismatch between investors and entrepreneurs. The market's access, there was a mismatch between the investors and the entrepreneurs. So we need to find some new ways to get an investment and mentors at the same time. Before I asking a question to Mr. Lee, so please think about the past when you started your own business. is it possible for you to devalue your own company? Yes, back then from the Japanese companies, I received the investment as much as I can, and I gave them back later. The fact only having an investment from the global company became a really big support to run the business. So, like the fact that investing in Panacea will be a good driving force for us to get some trust from other companies or other big companies. And so, please don't be conservative. Considering the future development, that could be a strategy for you for the investment. There are some CEOs today, and if you want to get some investment, please meet Mr. Lee after the session, and it will be a good news for you. How about Mr. Zhang? Will you willing to invest? Yes, Kumyang Engineering. If we find some good area that we can work with or partner with, then we can, of course, will invest in. Like a secondary cell or fuel cell are the main focus of our company, so we cannot invest in any areas. Rather, we need to find some areas that is related to our own company, and then I will invest. Maybe our company located in Sasang, and in Sasang we have built a new building, and I hope companies related to the fuel cell or hydrogen fuel cell can be gathered in this building and work together or consider together about the marketing. And it will be a good chance for us to get an investment, or it will be a good chance to conduct some win-win strategy. And thank you for your answer. So, and in my second question, I asked that talent is everything. So we have talked about the human resources a lot. And from the human resources, and now we talked about the investment. So we have lots of perspectives from the investors before they deciding whether they will invest or not. There will be many kinds of standards and perspectives before deciding the investment. So if you have any chance to invest, then what will be the good reason to decide whether will be a good company to be invested? Of course,
I think there can be
CEO가
CEO benefit and CEO risk when making investment decision, and that can be an important factor. But the CEO cannot do everything. So the founding members are very important. Not the MA or BA they hold. Their career experiences. We see the data related to their experiences. Let's say they have 4 founding members, A, B, C, D, including the CEO. Then I'll look for their career path, which project they were engaged in, what kind of R&D they have done, or what kind of companies they worked in, or the industry they worked in. After reviewing those, I'll make my decision. And what's more important for me, as Mr. Kim Jae-chul mentioned before, enthusiasm is very important. About the passion for business, I would like to give a new definition. Passion or enthusiasm alone is not enough. There should be ready to put all in. I visited Pittsburgh and I received my training there. The living conditions there were really bad. I had to eat every meal only by eating hamburgers, but I had the passion and enthusiasm So I think we need to see that aspect. If someone is ready to give up when difficulties strike, then it's not a good place to invest in. So we need to see whether that person is ready to give all in. So Mr. Lee mentioned that passion and enthusiasm is the most important aspects. And next, before, it was quite a while ago, together with my colleagues, other company CEO, we talked about making investment and angel investments. We have done so, but they ran away. They didn't pay it back. So while looking at back on that experience, I think the CEO was not responsible enough, and he was not capable to pay back. So we need to be cautious. So whenever someone comes to me asking for investments, then I didn't make that investment because of my past failure. So I received investment for my companies, and I have many experience related to that. When the CEO is not confident, then you shouldn't get any investment. If you got an investment, you need to be responsible for that money. When I really need the investment and money, I had to borrow 8 houses of my siblings as collateral in order to grow my business. So if I failed to grow my business, then my siblings had to lose their houses. So after making that responsible decisions, you need to get an investment from others. But if you are not willing to pay back, and if you run away, or if you're not ready to pay back that investment, I think that is not a good attitude as a CEO. So responsibility and obligations, you need to have that clear sense of responsibility when you get investments. So you need to be responsible for the investments you get. And if you are responsible enough, then other people will invest in your company, and other companies will invest in you. Thank you for your answer. And CEO of Kumyang. So I am the last speaker, so I always repeat what the two speakers said. I totally agree. And the most important thing for me when making investment is the vision of the CEO, the traits that he has or she has, and how he or she is going to achieve that vision, whether he or she has plan. That's the most important thing, I think, when making investment. Thank you for your good answers. So in the making investment, you need to be sure about your future growth and future vision. So when seeing other capable CEO, I could see that they get a lot of investment and scale up their company. And I would like to ask a question to CEO of Kumyang.
So you've been in public sector for so long, and you were the vice minister of ICT, and now you turned into the CEO in private sector. What was the reason you turned into your own role? So when I was in the public sector, I was in the ICT sector. We have some white coal or blue coal, but now we have developed a lot in digital areas, the world class. But it took some time, and I think I also had a little role in developing the digital areas in Korea. So I think to made some bigger contribution, I thought it is required to work in the private sector rather than the public sector, and to work to find some answers for more controversial questions like environment. After 20 to 30 years later, what would be the sector will be meaningful? Then I think the answer was the hydrogen fuel cell, and the Kumyang engineering was the fuel cell industry. That's why I started working in Kumyang engineering. So in Kumyang engineering, started its own business making foaming agent and moved to the hydrogen fuel cell development. So please explain what is the hydrogen economy. The foaming agent is some kind of agent to inflate rubbers or other agent. And Kumyang Engineering is the global #1 company in foaming agent manufacturer. The CEO has some 2,000 business partners around the world. And the CEO had some three concerns. Rather, this foaming agent is related to the chemical industry and it has a potential to be grown into, and it will be profitable and give some contribution to the society. So we get an answer in the area of a hydrogen fuel cell and the secondary cells. So in case of a secondary cell, we developed some kind of battery, and our company could be the third company to develop a certain type of battery. And about the hydrogen fuel cell, this Kumyang Engineering is working to making up some stacks. So our dream is that the hydrogen fuel cell manufactured by Kumyang Engineering, with this, we hope to invite many global partners, and we will give some great contributions to economy in Busan by manufacturing hydrogen fuel cells. Thank you. This is the last question to the CEO of Kumyang Engineering. So over the last 30 years, you were in the public sectors and now you turned into CEOs. What do you feel about your change? So when I work in the public sector, even the government set up some planned policy, we cannot see the results. It took some time to see the tangible result because many of those strategies would take some time. But in the private sector, in the company, we can see some tangible result within few months. So it makes me more concerning and confident at the same time. Thank you. And other questions for the last two panelists. So what is the talent as entrepreneurs? Is it born to be or it can be trained? You were in the business for so long. You have run business for so long really well. So entrepreneur is also human, and human entrepreneurs and CEO also can be developed as the business has developed. So do you think the CEO can be trained or can be born?
CEO of TO. So I think 50% is innate. So there are some people who shouldn't run business. And in some cases, there are some people who should run but who do not run a business. I think running a business is a difficult thing, and then people think that if only they create one, they will be able to succeed. But I think that's a risky thought because there are some challenges every day, and every day the company has some difficulties and some issues. So the CEO should give the solution to their employees. So I think CEO traits should be innate, and 70% is about, I think salesperson, 70% is innate, and for the CEO, the same goes for the CEO. I think we need to learn every day until we die. So nowadays, I think that 1 year or 2 years ago, I had a different perspective, but today, sometimes I realize that I made wrong decisions in the past. So likewise, I learn every day. So 50% is innate and 50% is something that you learn while running that business. Thank you. So what's your take on that? I think my perspective is kind of similar and kind of different. I think traits of a CEO, some aspects is innate. When that startup we talk about is about Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg. They quit their school in their 20s and start their own businesses. In order to increase the chance of being successful, you need to have ample experience. So if we see the success rate, I looked up some references. When starting a business around 41.5 years old has the highest chance of being successful. If we see the successful CEOs, they started their business late, like late in their 30s or early in their 30s. So you need to have ample experience first. I think that's the most important aspect and capability that is required for a CEO. And you need to have a sense of desperation. Whenever you embark on the challenges, you need to have that sense of desperation. And if you're too young, you don't have that experience on how to overcome that. About the personality, for me, myself is a nerd. And everybody anticipated that I will become a professor or so, but when I started my own businesses, people were suspicious over it because I was kind of a nerd guy. And at the time, people thought that I need to be a people person in order to successfully run my business. But at the time, what I had was the sense of desperation. I wanted to overcome the poverty that I had experienced so far at the time. So I think that was the strength that I had as a CEO. I know everything, making everything from scratch. So when I hire a person or when I hire my employees, I could see that aspect in people. If you are given a good life until now, then you don't have that sense of desperation. But if you had these challenges or experience some difficulties in life, or if you were kicked out of business or kicked out of a company, in order to overcome that challenges, you had to go through difficulties, and you don't give up easily. And second thing, you need to be prepared. In order to have a high chance of success, you need to be prepared. In order to be prepared, I think having a competitiveness is very important. And the initial market competition and the mainstream market competitions are important. You need to overcome and navigate through the Death Valley, and to successfully navigate it through that Death Valley, you need to be prepared. I read a book about exploring the Antarctic region in the 1915. At the time, Amundsen, the Norway explorer, at the time Norway was a very poor country, and Scott was from the UK. And Scott got sponsorship from the royal family and the UK while exploring. So people thought that Scott will become the first one to dominate the Antarctic. But unlike people's expectation, Amundsen from Norway won that expedition. So he was so prepared. I think the same goes for running a business. You need to be prepared. You need to set up plan A, plan B, and C. Those contingency plans are very important. And a friend of mine started a business, started big. He had so many employees under him. And I could see that only a couple of months he could survive. So after several months, he really gone bankrupt. So you need to minimize the upfront cost when you start a business and should be prepared thoroughly in order to increase the chance of you becoming successful. So you need to read a lot of books. As Mr. Kim mentioned, the times always change and you need to be savvy about the trends. And you need to have a foresight. And then you need to learn first and then dominate the market in an early stage. So first is preparation. You need to see the future faster than others. And you need to have that strategy, market strategy, faster than others. In order to get that insight, you need to read newspapers, books, papers, or learn from conferences and read books. You need to have that insight in order to be prepared as a leader. If not, then you are not qualified to be a leader. Thank you. Please give him a big round of applause.
So it is quite out of time right now, but we have many good insights from the panelists. I feel some confidence from those panelists speaking. Thank you for your insights and thank you for your opinion. So let's go to the last question from me, and we will get some questions from other audience. So my last question is, so as entrepreneurs, for the entrepreneurs, do you have any good opinions or ideas? What are you take-home messages for young CEOs like them? So in the second half of this year, startups' investment environment became harsh due to the high inflation. But this kind of situation would be a good opportunities as well. In a difficult situations, when you overcome the challenges, then you will see good opportunities in the future. When the dot-com bubble collapsed, Amazon, we have seen some starts of Amazon's and Airbnb. So in a difficult time, you will see some chances. And even though you will fail, based on those failures, you can, if you are more desperate, you will see a better opportunities in the future as well. Thank you very much. And Mr. Kim, starting your own business, you need to run your business for decades. But in some cases, due to the slow economy or bad economy, I do not care about the environment surrounding the economy. If you work hard, someday the environment or economic condition will be changed. So we have some strong DNA as a Korean. We have really good DNA. So it means that we will have more ambitious entrepreneurs in startups. And I hope to see more new startups to make a better future of Korea. So when you start, please remind of yourself that having a big dream and having a big ideal and have a big picture and do your best, and you will see a good result. Thank you very much. Please give him a big round of applause. And the last, Mr. Lee. And I think I had a mentor, my father-in-law. He wasn't well educated. He just graduated from elementary school, but he gave me lots of good advices about having business. He gave me some examples by telling me some small business. Even if you sell a pencil, you need to understand the circumstances or environment surrounding the areas and where you can secure your own materials and when is the most crowded time, where is the best spot to do the business. My father-in-law told me that you need to learn the lessons in the field. So I think all the CEOs and even my children, I sent them to the Japan to run their business by themselves from the scratch. So don't be a leader. Instead, you need to learn from the scratch at the bottom. You need to have altruism. Making money, being a rich is not the idea you have first. You need to take care of your colleagues and employees first. And you need to take care of your customers first by providing good products manufactured by us. Instead of price, you need to consider value. Let the client experience the value of our product, and the client or customers, even though it could be a company or a person, if they experience a value of our company, what we should do. Paying attention to only to money will not be enough to run the business and securing a good clients and customers. Thank you very much for your answer. Please give him a big round of applause. Thank you. So from the last questions, we also get some really good insight from 3 panelists. And I think those insights were very precious and impressive. And now let's get some questions from the audience. If you have any questions, please raise your hands. Okay, hand over the microphone to him.
Question is meant for the CEO of Panasia. Earlier you said that CEO traits are innate. So how do we spot on that you are not meant to start a business? Or how do we say that even though after a lot of failures you can spot on that, oh, I'm not meant for this? And how do we differentiate these failures will become something of a success in the future? So my main question is how do you spot on people that are not meant for this business field?
So the floor question was about how can we know whether one is qualified enough to run a business or not, and this question was designated to CEO of Panasia. While you grow up, you do games with friends, and when you study, you need to compete to get a good grades. So you need to make your own decisions. You need to see whether you can be successful in the competition. I think you can make your own judgment. You may not get a good grade, or you decide to give up that game. Then if you are a person with that mindset, you will not be able to survive in the cutthroat competition, and you are now qualified to run the business. So those who are set to win, I think those people are qualified enough to run a business.
감사합니다. 지금 통역이 된 건가요?
Is it translated? Yes. So next question. I have around 273 patents. And I asked the patent office, and I hold the biggest number of patents here in Korea. But in order to do business in Korea, I think technology contributes to 3% of success, and you need to be lucky enough to be successful here in Korea. So I think having the technology is so underappreciated. And many consulting firms scratch a lot of money from us. And in Korea, when you start a business, many people are under-evaluated or underappreciated. So for those entrepreneurs, to-be entrepreneurs who wish to run a business, they need to get respect. But in Korean society, the to-be entrepreneurs are so underrated. You gave a lot of insight, and your comments were very insightful. Everything was very good to hear, but what's important for running a business is that there should be some respect and support to the people who wish to run a business, but in Korea, that kind of support and assistance are not given. And when starting a business, what's most important is having the technology. So I have a technology. So I have a technology for making a lightweight bag. I hold that patent. And that can be very beneficial for military officers. If we can reduce the weight of the bag by 20 kilogram to 30 kilogram, it will work for foreign markets. I didn't apply patents for this. This is a secret technology that I have. If I am ready, then I'll apply for patents. So that's the idea that I have for my next business. But when I wish to run my business, I need to go to the consulting firm, and they always advise me to sell it first. If I don't apply for patents, then I cannot go to overseas market with it. So let's see the mobile phone business and mobile phone markets. The three biggest conglomerates dominate the market. So for Korean startups, it is really, really difficult to survive. And then the patent office doesn't support us. And then the startup businesses become just a small mom and pop store. The big conglomerates dominate the market. So I think the situation is not favorable. So could you be brief? So I think I would like to ask, what I wanted to mention is that the market condition and Korean business environment should be favorable for startup entrepreneurs. I have the technology, but I couldn't be successful in the market. I think, as I mentioned, 3% is technology and 97% is luck. Do you agree with me? So, CEO of Kumyang, could you answer that question? Could you be brief? So I think he has that sense of desperation. He holds a lot of patents. I lost the last half of your remarks, and you've mentioned that 3% is technology and 97% is luck, and you've mentioned that to-be entrepreneurs are not respected in Korea. And second thing was kind of similar. And then those who have the technology is underappreciated in the market. So you've mentioned that business environment for startup is not favorable enough in Korea. I think we can take a different approach to that. When I was in the central government, I think the business environment here in Korea is getting better. I think I can say that for sure. We have many startup programs. There is SME government. The Ministry of SME has TIPS program. Those of business and startups who are selected for TIPS program, they get investment. And I think the TIPS program is very systematic. And those who are selected for the TIPS program has a very successful business model. So related to the technology that you have, I think technology is important, but the market favors that what sells. So customers should choose for your service or choose for your technology in order to make your business successful. So for those who cares only about technology, think that technology is all about the business, and business is all about technology. But that technology should be relatable to the customers, and customers should opt for your technology.
Thank you for your answers. Maybe later we can talk.
그게 굉장히 좋은. 막으려고 하는 건 아니고.
Because of the short time and time limits, I think we need more time to have a more meaningful discussion. So maybe after this panel discussion, you can talk we can talk about it later together to have a more in-depth discussion. So maybe the CEO of Kumyang Engineering will talk with you later. So to run the good business, we need various factors. So to make this happen, we need to consider so many aspects. So with the limited time, it's not easy to talk about in depth. So maybe later we will have a chance to talk about it. So all those policies and technologies are required to run the business, but individuals' capacity also essential to run the successful business. So please, another question? Please hand over the microphone. How many times do we have? But we already over times. But this would be but let's have these questions from the audience. Thank you for the opinions from the three panelists. I started my business in Busan, and it has been 6 years since I started my business. My name is Park Sang-hwa. I have a question to CEO of DO. So the size of a company depends on the size of the dream of the CEOs. So since the size of a company has been increased, but now I'm considering that my own talents has been developed as well. And now I think that the size of my own capacity should be increased as the business is developing. So what do you think how the CEO will size up their own capacity so when you increase the size of your own company? So sometimes your company's employee failed to follow the size of the CEO's capacity, and sometimes the CEO fails their employees as well. So in every steps, you need to train yourself to set up a higher goal and to set up a even higher goal for the future. It will be a good answer for you? Yes. That will be a good answer for me, and I will ask in detail. So as a CEO should provide a goal to the employees and work together with employees, but CEO should provide a better vision or better goals to do. We need to consider ourselves to get some point. But sometimes we are human, so our root would be swayed by the. But I wasn't struggled enough. I wasn't struggled, and I wasn't shaken enough. I was quite strong person or confident person to do my own business. As a CEO, you should have a very strong vision for the future and strong willingness to make it happen, to provide, and you should believe yourself in that you can provide a good vision to your employees. No, I'm very sorry that our employees cannot follow my own visions. I am the one who has the strongest and the largest vision in my company. So as a CEO, you should have a strong vision and strong willingness to take the lead in the companies. So every day, I think, every morning, as a CEO, I think all those efforts should be incorporated in ourselves. And I also have an opinion too. I majored in engineering and run my business, and I majored in mechanics. So with the knowledge based on the mechanics, we cannot follow the trend. All those trends changed into the digital form. So back then, our company's core competence was a digital. But if I wasn't sure about this technology, and that was the big issues. So as a CEO, you need to understand what should be compensated as a CEO. First, you need to build up a professional skills or knowledges. What is your major? So first, as a CEO, you majored in management. In that case, I want to recommend that how about studying more in engineering sector or mechanics? I strongly recommend to study more in totally different areas. And back then, I couldn't understand the statistics. And human resources was not the one that I can understand properly. That's why I studied further to learn the statistics and human resources management. And the next, the networking is really important. So, and the time management requires as well. So, just meeting, when you make some relationship with other peoples by playing golf for others, you need, when your business size will become bigger, you need to meet a different person, different type of people who is in the higher stage or higher status. That an MBA course will be a good opportunity to meet a person who is in the better or higher status. Just drinking or networking are not enough to make a good relationship with people, or rather than, how about taking some lectures, participating in morning classes? It will be a good opportunities for you to have a better vision for the future, to see a father. So you need to get some insights from this kind of opportunities. And friendship is really important for you. Technology, only with the technology, it's not enough to run the business. Good personality, leadership are required as a CEO. And also health is so important too. So knowledge, good health, and good personality are required to be a good CEO and to run the better business in the future. This kind of CEO's capacity will be the capacity of the business of your company as well. Your vision will, the CEO should have a big vision to lead the companies. You need to upgrade your visions. Thank you very much for your answers.
So we could feel the enthusiasm, and thank you for that insightful comments. We'll receive some more questions from the floor. We are running behind our schedule, but yet, should we finish now? There's one more person. Let's receive one more question then. So he seems so desperate and he really wished to pose that question, so let's give him a chance. Please be brief. Good afternoon. I run Red Cancel. I'm the entrepreneur of a startup. I have a common question to all of you. When we start a business, the goal that you had when you started your business, is it the same from now, or do you think that goal still works for you, or by chance or by coincidence, did you have any chance that made you successful without you knowing that? So what kind of values that you cherish in achieving your goal? So first, I'll go first. We have a company vision. The company name is Panasia, and before it was Pom-A. Pom-A is a Korean word for Panasia. So when I sleep, I always dreamed of growing my business, and I had a dream one night, and I thought about Genghis Khan, and they ruled the world. If you see Hitler, they fought to win a bigger land or dominate a bigger land. They were really bold. So when changing my name into Pan-Asia, my company's name into Pan-Asia, I realized that I should shoot for Asian market. So you should dream big. So that's why I changed the company from Pom-A to Pan-Asia. So we had a lot of experiences while doing so. You need to dream first in order to realize that dream. You need to dream as a CEO. In order to grow your business, you need to have a big dream. So from looking back on my experience, after 10 to 15 years, you will be able to achieve your goal or target. So when looking back on my experiences, I had to upgrade my goals 3 to 4 times. I established a new goal for the future. So I think after 10 years, I will be able to achieve that goal. Then after that 10 years, I will have to have a new goal. So it's only 1.5 years since I moved to the private sector. So I'm kind of cautious. After 10 years, I'll give you my insights. Thank you. Thank you for your enthusiastic participation during the Q&A session, but due to time limitation, we need to wrap up the session. So please, moderator. Yes. With the 3 panelists, we had a discussion and Q&A session. So I really pondered about what is the spirit of startup, what is the spirit of entrepreneurship. So while listening from the 3 speakers, that I could learn that aspect of entrepreneur and startup. I think the message that we need to learn from this session is no pain, no gain. In order to have a gain, we need to experience that pain. So I guess you may have a lot of questions remaining, and I also have remaining questions. So I hope to have this kind of opportunities later on. So before we wrap up, there is the keynote speaker in the head table. We have Richard Wonker here with us. Thank you for being with us for this session. So could you share your impression or insights about the panel discussion?
Thank you for all of your wisdom. Very much appreciate all of the insights and your individual expertise. Each of you has had your own path, your own journey that makes it very helpful and unique, I believe, for the people here listening to be able to learn from each of your journeys. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
네, 감사합니다. 여러분 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Please give him a big round of applause. So for today's moderator and three panelists, thank you for today's. You share your very actual and very detailed insights with us. And you also show us your passion and your and you shared really good insights with us. So thank you very much for today. And your insights can be shared with us. It was very sharp that you have pointed out. And for the moderators and other, you are, I think you are a professional host. And all of us, all the audience really pay attention to your discussions. So please give all the speakers and the moderators a big round of applause. Thank you for today. It's time to take some photo together. So all moderators, panelists, and anybody who will take a picture together, please come out on the stage.
네, 저희 스태프가 좀 안내를 해드리도록 하겠습니다.
Brief house announcement.
네, 오늘 예정된
So we are running slightly behind our schedule. I think that's because of your interest and enthusiasm. I would like to thank all of you for staying until the very end. So I could personally feel that the insights that we exchanged were really meaningful and it was really helpful. So panelists are exchanging on stage, but still we need to have that group photo together. So please look at the camera. Could you take off your mask and face toward the camera?
네, 조금만 좀 가까이 서서 네, 뭐 다른 포즈 있을까요? 네, 오른쪽 엄지척. 네, 하트. 네, 여러분 무대에 계신 분들께 여러분 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다. 네, 다시 한번 세션을 이끌어주신 도경백 대표님을 비롯한 패널 연사분들께 진심으로 감사 인사드리고요. 함께해 주신 분들 감사 인사를 전하도록 하겠습니다. 이제 공식적으로 마무리하도록 하겠습니다. 네, 지금까지 사회 박나경이었고요. 여러분 안녕히 돌아가십시오. 고맙습니다.